Welcome to the Startup Grind.
You said you're a deep thinker, and you seem to be very driven, to say the least. I mean, is that something like that you felt like was instilled in you? This kind of drive uh, to both create and to innovate. Is that something that was instilled in you? Is that something you were born with? What is your take on that?
This is going to be maybe a longer and more intimate answer than you could imagine. But, I'll just tell you guys right now, we probably all start out being driven. But I'm not driven anymore. Now I'm driving. And the difference is that we all basically get a neurosis by the time we're about 2 years old, and you don't really know about it because your hippocampus isn't activated, so you don't have any experiential or photographic memory. But something always goes wrong in childhood, no matter how great your parents are and what good intentions they may have. So you have this piece of you that some experts call the lost self. It's a part of you that you don't get to have because it doesn't allow you to fit perfectly with your caregivers, your parents. So, for example, you might have a mom who's really stoic, and you realize, yeah, I can't be all mushy and soft because she doesn't relate to that. I've got to be a tough guy. So that becomes a false self to replace that deficit. So I became a high achiever because I didn't feel like I was good enough just being myself. I had to be driven to be an achiever. And it took me a long time to figure out that that's not who I really am. I'm really more like a creator. I'm more of an artist. How many of you have taken the Myers-Briggs personality test? And if you don't remember what your score is, I suggest you take it again, because as I've gotten older, I've really come to appreciate how valuable that tool is. First of all, in understanding yourself and breaking it down into detail about yourself, and even understanding how does that affect who you are as an executive and a manager, and how do you collaborate with people, how do you parent, who can you get along with in relationships. It's extremely valuable. And it's funny because you referred to me as a builder. So in Myers-Briggs, I'm what's called an INTJ, which is the rarest type. And I don't know about the rest of you. It's like when you take that test and then you go in and read what it says. I don't know how about you, but I had this reaction like, how do they know that? It's like, that's a secret. I haven't told anybody that. So it's uncanny how good it is. And then if you go research things like, okay, well, I'm having trouble with this friend or this kid of mine or this spouse or whatever. Okay, well, what type are they? It's really valuable, by the way, to collect data on what the other people are. And that's the other thing they say about an INTJ is it's the dominant thing is the intuition, but they call it the scientist. So I just think this is kind of weird, but this is what's totally true about it, is that I always start with the concept. I always start with pattern recognition about how I see things going in the future, and developing an idea of really coming again from gut and intuition. And once that idea has formed, then I think, okay, I've got to subject this to a ton of analysis because I don't want to waste time on it if it can't hold up to a lot of scrutiny. And I'm happy to invite other people in and have them help me just beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
To really fine tune it. And I think in entrepreneurship, that's one of the things you have to do. You can't just only trust your gut.
Right.
So as an N, I'm almost always surrounded by subordinates that are S's, which is the other way that particular variable goes. It's very complementary that way.
Well, how can, as an entrepreneur, how do you know if your gut is right or if you're just having indigestion? I mean, is it based on banging on it? Is it based on just testing it, or is that enough, or do you sometimes just have to follow that gut?
So I really think of this like being an artist. So I think if you really are an artist, say you're a painter, you can't not paint. You get a picture that forms in your head of something you want to paint or
That's
photograph or write or music you want to create. It's not an option to not do it. You feel compelled to do it. It's just that in business, it's not really art. We're being held accountable to actually make money. We end up with investors and they expect to have an exit. So that's why you can't just, be free as a bird and do whatever the heck you want every day. You're going to be held accountable.